What are components of energy expenditure? There are three components: basal metabolic rate, physical activity, and thermic effect of food. So basal metabolic rate is energy requires to have your body carry out involuntary functions, things you don't have to think about. So things like circulation, respiration, secreting hormones, building new tissue, nerve transmission, things like that. Now you might say, you might wonder about digestion and absorption of foods. So digestion and absorption of foods, even though those are activities we don't have to think about, it has its own category. So it's called thermic effect of food. The last category is physical activity. So my question to you is thinking about this. Which component is the most variable? So of these three, physical activity really is the one that has the most variability. And the other thing to note here on this figure that's in your book is thinking about which component has the most, accounts for the most energy expenditure. So in this case, basal metabolic rate is the one that is the largest component of energy expenditure. The other thing I would say that's not on this chart, but that you'll need to know for this class, and is talked about in your book, is adaptive thermogenesis. So this is an idea that things like fidgeting can actually lead to some energy expenditure. So again, you can read more about that in your book. I encourage you to do that so you're familiar with adaptive thermogenesis. One of the other things that you'll need to be able to do in this class is thinking about what factors affect whether or not basal metabolic rate goes up or down. So let's look at a couple of examples. So in this situation, a growing child, would this increase or decrease basal metabolic rate, or BMR? In this case, it will increase basal metabolic rate. What about this situation, having a fever? This actually will also increase basal metabolic rate. Our next example, aging or older adults. This actually will decrease basal metabolic rate. And the last one is increasing muscle mass. Increasing muscle mass is going to increase basal metabolic rate. So think about all of these collectively. Can you see some patterns between factors that actually increase basal metabolic rate versus decrease? Well, the ones that we talked about that increase include increasing muscle mass, a growing child, having a fever. Another one could be a woman who's pregnant. So a generality is that if you're increasing muscle tissue or muscle mass, increasing tissue, that you're going to have a higher basal metabolic rate. Now, in having a fever, there's some other things that are happening in the body physiologically that lead to increased basal metabolic rate. On the flip side, the one example here that I gave you was aging, or older adults have a decrease in basal metabolic rate. Well, why is that? We know that general physiology is we age, we start losing muscle mass. So with that loss of muscle mass can also come a loss of BMR. Now, of course, we can help to maintain lean muscle mass by exercising and that protein as we age. But the natural course of aging is we are going to lose some lean protein, therefore our basal metabolic rate will go down. If you have further questions about this concept, feel free to talk to me or to the TAs.